The Area Truck Series is well underway with the first 2 rounds of the season in the background. First, a trip to Daytona in Central Florida, and then a trip out west to Las Vegas, Nevada. Round 3 takes us to Sparta, Kentucky, home of Kentucky Speedway and the home of fried chicken. Colonel Sanders in attendance here today. We'll talk more about that later. But race 3 of the season here for the Area Truck Series. Kyle Heyer joined by Connor Horn tonight. Connor, welcome aboard. This one is going to be a very, very fast, frantic race. 120 laps around this 1.5-mile speedway that got a bit of a reconfiguration some years ago. It means we're going to spend a lot of time on throttle.
Yeah, a lot of time on throttle in turns 1 and 2. It's going to be a little bit like Las Vegas in the sense that turns 1 and 2 is going to be a little bit of a pack race with a very minimal lifting, even when the tires wear. You're going to be too wide through there, but it's not like Vegas in the sense that 2 ends of the track are completely different. When you go into turn 3, not a lot of banking. We're going to talk about that a little bit more, but it is going to be treacherous when you get down there trying to go 3 wide to maybe 1 wide because it is tough to race down there at that end of a track.
Yeah, 80 degrees in the air, cloudy weather here tonight for this 3rd round of the Area Truck Series season. And let's talk a little bit about the point scenario coming into the night here, Connor, because we've got 2 rounds in the background now, but here's our playoff picture in the Truck Series after race 2. Win for John Hall at Daytona, win for Nathan Jump at Las Vegas. Jake Matheson, who won last night's Cup race, is up in 3rd of the standings, and Travis Beckner, Jacob Bell. Maybe too early to be looking at the cut line, but already I think we're seeing a lot of drivers shift towards the top. How about Gary Waterworth sneaking into that top 10 early on? Good start to the season for him.
Yes, 6th in points on our graphic there. He had a horrid season last time, season 4, but he's looking to turn that around. How about if we look to him? Look at the 19th position. James Scioli in 19th position. We're obviously going to expect him to get above the cut line soon enough, but a very frantic and disappointing start to his season, being 11 down. JT Poole, the same thing for him, 15th, 6th below the cut line. Tom Bourne, he almost went through to the finals in the other series, so a few drivers there that need to improve.
Yeah, certainly a long, long way to go until we get to the playoffs. But 2 drivers locked in that don't have to worry, John Hall and Nathan Jump. And maybe that's a good thing so far in practice here. Didn't see a lot of those drivers up near the pointy end. So that's something to consider as we make our way into this 120-lap race. Wide racetrack in some instances, but this is, as it was last night, a very wide racetrack that has a very narrow racing line at times. Connor, how is that going to be a contention for drivers here this evening?
Going to be very frustrating. You get the run down the front straightaway. Have all the apron to use as well. We might be seeing people go over the bumps on the apron at some points trying to race hard. We saw that on the final lap with James Shanewolf, a failed move as we look at Colonel Sanders next to, I guess you said Pearman.
Yeah, this way. The guy's got a funny shape to him. Colonel Sanders, I didn't know that this was a detail this racetrack has, but of course, Kentucky, home of Kentucky Fried Chicken. And there is, of course, Mr. Colonel Sanders sitting there, and not a lot of action at the moment. He seems very content himself. But qualifying is underway. Cloudy temps, cloudy skies, cool temps. Not 90 degrees on the racetrack, which means we should have a pretty high grip condition here for qualifying. Donald Ray, one of the first to take to the racetrack, the number 75, streaks across the start-finish line. Big field again, full field, more than 43. I think we've got at least 43 tonight, Connor. I'm not sure that we're quite over that limit where we'll send someone home, but we're awful close to it, if not over it.
I see my count sees 44, so
okay.
We might send 1 truck home tonight, but we'll talk about this track a little bit more. Turns 1 and 2, kind of got that grip strip on the bottom there. We're going to see pretty full throttle for the most part, but you might see drivers like David Weishart crack the throttle just to get the nose pointed. But then turn 3, you have to be very precise, get to that yellow line. It's really your only option to make up time. You're not going to be able to do much outside of that very bottom line, so racing then is going to be very tough as Weishart comes across the line, completely cutting the tri-oval there as he goes 30.829, top of the board for a little while, but Sam Fontaine just that quickly knocked him down.
So Sam Fontaine goes to the top. Mason Kane sitting and waiting. He hasn't yet gone. Mark Brannigan Jr. hasn't gone. Cameron Hearn's on track. This is a guy just looking for luck somewhere, sometime. Maybe someday he'll get it. Had a decent result last night at Phoenix in the Cup Series. Took the virtual flight over to Kentucky for this afternoon's race. And here comes the number 4. Ford F-150 out of turn 4 and across the stripe. And it will be 169.914 miles an hour average. Good enough for a 30.9, drops him 7th. That'll be a mid-pack run here by the end. JT Poole on track, just getting rolling here.
Yeah, and Cameron Hearn, I believe, 39th last night. So Actually, still looking to pull it around. I think JT Poole probably got a penalty for exiting the pits too early there. It looked close, and he'll just reset, take a swig of water, and go right back out there. A few more times are on the board with 7 minutes to go. Brad Slaughter went second above Weishart. John Hall's trying to recover. He finished last at Vegas after his win at Daytona, but he's qualified fourth for the time being. And then James Shainwolf, I believe, had a top 3 last week. He's qualified sixth as Michael Curhan crosses the line to start his lap, as his sign is a little bit out. I see 5 wide. I see Vegas.
Yes.
I see Kyle's pet.
I think this is not his fault. This is mine. I had to readjust some Zoom stuff, so I'll try to shift it. It says, what's Kyle's pet peeve this week? Week 1, people. People walking 5 wide is what the peeve was. Week 2, Las Vegas, because I didn't like Vegas so much. Week 3, Kentucky. What do I have to complain about? We'll find it, I'm sure, at some point tonight. Curhan across the stripe. And 30.860. That's a decent lap, good enough for 5th as Kane jumps to 4th just ahead of him.
You see he was chugging along out of 4, just trying to will that truck to a faster time as JT Poole is coming down the back straightaway to get his time down. Gonna really have to slow it down. Got the best rotation in 3 and 4 that I've seen out of a driver's going. You have all that room to the outside on the exit of 4. You don't really have to use it all, but if you have to, you got to do what you got to do. He comes across line 30.887. It's good enough, 6th for the time being.
And doesn't look super satisfied with that. It's only 7th quick. Jacob Bell goes 6th quick. A good start to the season for Jacob Bell. Another driver I mentioned that's off to a pretty good start, Gary Waterworth. He's just rolling, though. Kyle Nowicki crashes out of turn 2, so that's going to put him down the order. Gary Waterworth on the track. Travis Beckner is warming up his tires, heading off into 3. And his Miller Racing team in the Cup Series side, a lot of early season success. Let's see if he can repeat that and get a win here tonight.
As far as Nowicki's concerned, he's one of those open trucks. So if we are, if we are getting rid of one, that's going to be unfortunate. We'll see if the others get times in as Beckner comes in. Not hearing much of a lift through 1 and 2 on the very freshest tires. Uses that little extra grip to his advantage on the very bottom, and he comes down the back straightaway, falling around 179, might even reach 180 at his peak. And then it's so difficult to get the bottom to the bottom in turn 3. It just does not want to turn. And he washes way out of turn number 4.
See what he's got. Needs to be above 170 mile an hour average, be anywhere close to the pole. 170.317, 38.65, good enough for about a 6th place run. That's not bad. Might get bumped out of the top 10, though, with a couple of the trucks we still have to go. Joey Chapman in the number 60. Got a local partner on board this week, Kentucky's favorite beer, on board this car or truck. I got to get my brain in the truck mindset. It would be easier if we did it the other way around, truck, B cars and then Cup, but we kind of mix them up a little bit, so my brain gets a bit of a tizzy. Here comes Joey Chapman. And this will be a 170.0 mile an hour average, 30.918 9th quick.
Not bad. That's 9th out of about 30 trucks to go so far. Braxton DeWeese just started the lap. Gary Waterworth just ended his lap. He'll go about 26th. Definitely not what he was looking for, so around 25th maybe. Not the try to get a better start this season. He's 6th in points on our grid, but it's going to be tough to keep that up from where he's starting. Is Austin Gack-Joan, another driver trying to turn it around from last season. He comes out of 4. See what he's got in his Ford F-150. Really hit the bump on that apron there. 31.026. He's back in 26th, I believe.
And Braxton DeWeese only 30th quick. Danny Ware on the back straightaway in the awesome looking. This is a great looking livery on this. I bet you that's a Simrat Market job. Comes out of turn 4. And Jake Matheson to the top by 1,000th of a second.
1,000. He immediately went through the grass to celebrate. Danny Ware goes 34th. Really tough qualifying run for him. We're down to about the last few drivers to put a time down. One of those being Bronson Stafford, who's heading down to turn number 3. He's had a pretty strong start to the season himself. Yeah,
Eric Wineland has not yet taken to the road. Neither has last week's winner Nathan Jump, nor Justin Anasogak, Ryan Swan, or Tom Bourne. Here comes Stafford, 169.3, 31.046, and yeah, I must have scraped the fence. Saw him low on the backstretch, so maybe it was out of 2, but he will have to start towards the tail tonight.
Shane Therian coming out of pit road to start his lap. The Stafford wishes what could have been as far as that lap's concerned. Therian will come out. Nowicki, we know, one of those open trucks, likely won't make the field. Tom Bourne is going out at this time as well. I believe Tom Bourne is not open in this series. It's the other series, so Nowicki not looking good for him so far as Therian comes out of 4 to start his lap.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. Gary Waterworth is open. Braxton DeWeese is open. Shane Therian across the stripe to begin his lap. Ryan Nowicki. Don't see Ryan Nowicki on the open list on my Truck Series.
Third from the bottom. Well, you know what we get given in Discord.
Okay.
Third from the bottom.
I was looking at a different source, so that explains that. Shane Therian out of turn 4 though in the number 38 Chevrolet Silverado. Justin Anisogak goes 11th quick. Here comes Therian across the stripe, and it is 170.2 miles an hour, 30.879 ties for 9th. Bumps Jacob Bell down to 10th with that. And Ryan Swan jumps to, well, Tom Bourne goes up to 7th, so that'll make sure he's got a good starting spot. Here's Ryan Swan in the number 20 HyperX truck.
Swan comes down back straightaway, see if he can get into the bottom of the corner a little bit better than what we've been seeing from some other drivers. Didn't really look like he got the BL line there that well either.
That 3 and 4 complex seems fairly challenging tonight across the stripe for Ryan Swan, and that is a 170.169 miles an hour, 13th quick. And then last week's winner, Nathan Jump. Bronson Stafford and Ryan Nowicki both will not get qualifying laps due to invalidations. James Scioli, late entry here. He also jumps in, and that's going to shovel another one of those open drivers onto the chopping block, won't it?
Yeah, that's going to be tough. Just got word as Nathan Jump, he's going to come across the line 15th position. Word from one of our in-race admins, John Peel, is that the drivers so far right now missing the field would be Ryan Nowicki, and also the 75 of Donald Ray would be the other driver missing the races. He's about 39th on time. So unfortunate for the late entry because of Scioli, the 75 looked to be safe, might be going home.
Eric Wineland snuck past us there. 29th starting position, I should say, for Eric Wineland in that Ford F-150. Another look at your playoff picture before we get into the show here tonight. Again, Jake Matheson, who is your pole sitter. You got to circle him as a threat, Connor. 2 wins on the Cup Series side, competing in both series, running well in the points. We don't have the 73 of Jake Nichols competing in this series. We do have him on Thursdays, so you have to consider the Cup Series points leader as a potential threat to win the Truck Series stuff tonight.
Oh, well, he was probably the guy to win the Truck Series race last week. Him and Scioli got into it a little bit, ended Matheson's run for that race win, and really that's what opened a door for Nathan Jump to take victory over those two. But, yeah, definitely if he can keep his track position up, he'll definitely be the guy to look for to win this race, no doubt about it.
Race fans, be sure to subscribe to the Area iRacing Twitch channel. As a subscriber, you'll have Area iRacing emotes to use in the chat. You'll also earn double channel points as a subscriber that you can use to redeem for free merchandise, all at the price of just $5 a month. You have to do that on twitch.tv/Area iRacing. If you're watching on YouTube, check out the Twitch channel as well. Make sure you follow and subscribe to their channel to get those channel points. Roasted Gems Coffee. Race fans, start your engines with a fresh cup of Roasted Gems Coffee. Choose from some of the finest coffee beans from Colombia and Peru, or try the blended flavors of French vanilla and hazelnut. Use discount code Area iRacing for 10% off your order at checkout at roastedgems.com. So 2 drivers will not make the show. It's the 74 and 75 trucks. They will not qualify in. Ryan Nowicki is one, and the 75 of Donald Ray will be the other, as James Scioli popped in late enough to knock them out. Another look at the weather information again. Track temp coming up a little bit. Air temp coming down a bit. It's about 63% humidity. Wind, just a little bit of a very slight breeze out of the south-southwest. So that won't be much of a factor here tonight in Sparta, Kentucky. We will be driving into the evening, though, so I'd expect that track temp to come on down. And then as the track rubbers up, we should grip up as well, Connor. But that's all to be seen in a 120-lap race.
And as a matter of fact, as the track turned over to the race setup, track temp now 91, and those winds coming from the going west, 5 miles an hour. Don't think that will make much of a difference. It will really affect the drivers the most in the flat corner. But like you said, the track temp's going to come down. Turns 1 and 2 is probably going to get more hectic. It's going to be a little bit easier to get into turns 3 and 4 side by side, but I still wouldn't bet on it working every single lap tonight.
So the trucks are lining up. Let's roll through our starting lineup from the Roasted Gems Coffee starting grid. It's Jake Matheson starting on pole alongside Sam Fontaine in the number 71. They're both in Chevrolet Silverado machinery.
And then row number 2, 2 Toyota Tundras and 2 teammates at that. Brad Slaughter Jr., the 2-time truck champion, and David Weishart in the 33.
And starting in 5th place in row 3, it's Mason Kane in the number 31 Chevy Silverado. Greg Mitchell starts 6th in the number 2 Ford.
Tom Bourne always close to the front, it seems. He starts 7th tonight alongside the 24, our guy, Michael Curhan.
And in 9th place, row 5, Travis Beckner, the number 28. Had a good team showing last night in Phoenix, Arizona. Brings the team over to Kentucky for tonight. Shane Darian starts 10th in the number 38 Silverado.
I adored Beckner last night, but it was nothing malicious. Anyways, 11th place, Jacob Bell. He'll start in 11th. So close, so many super speedways we'll see what he can do tonight, alongside the always fast JT Poole, starting a little bit further back in 12th.
And 13th place, Ryan Swan in the number 20 Silverado. Justin Anasogak in his Chevrolet starts 14th in the number 88.
Last week's winner, leading about 22 laps, Nathan jumping to 9. He qualifies 15th alongside the 60 of Joey Chapman.
That's a Toyota Tundra TRD Pro starting in 16th. 17th place, Sean Petchin in the number 69. John Hall, the winner from Daytona, locked into the playoffs, can just focus on wins now. Starts 18th in the 03.
Rounding out the top half of the field, Joshua Balliet, the 07, alongside his teammate with Elite Entertainment, James Shanewolf in 20th.
Pair of blue ovals in that 10th row. Then it's Ben Pierce in the number 65 and Colin Fambro, both in Chevy Silverados, the 65 21st, the 18 22nd.
Cameron Hearn, one of those drivers just looking for some luck to go his way. He starts 23rd tonight alongside the 09 of Bryce Senesac.
And Garrett Grant starts in 25th in the number 5. Kyle Sieg, 26th in the number 39 Ford F-150.
Jason Dalton, he's in the 02 Silverado. He starts 27th. Jeremy Brown, I don't remember seeing his name the past 2 weeks, but he'll start 28th tonight.
And 29th place is Eric Wineland. We got an in-car camera on him. 21 truck rolls off 29th alongside Matthew Rodriguez, and 30th in the number 51, Connor.
Dwayne Culberson, number 81 Chevy Silverado. He'll start 31st. Kyle Ryan, another name I don't recognize from the past 2 weeks. He'll start 32nd.
And looking down the rest of the order, Mark Brannigan Jr., 33rd in the number 98. Austin Gack-Jones, 34th in the number 41. Then Gary Waterworth and Adam Capps in 35th and 36th, Connor.
Then Braxton DeWeese, 37th, and another Ford F-150. Bobby Tench, 38th position. Donald Ray was one of those drivers who didn't make the field, so instead it'll be Danny Ware up there. And then a few more drivers, Alex Cummings, Casey Lakatos, last drivers on time. Then James Sciarli, late entry. Bronson Stafford will start last tonight. And then obviously the last driver to not make the field was Ryan Nowicki, not getting a time down.
The field works their way through 3 and 4, coming to the green. 120 laps should be about an hour worth of green flag racing to go flag to flag without challenge. Pick me a favorite, Connor. I know I've got one, and I'm going to pick the pole sitter, Jake Matheson. Maybe an easy pick, but 52 gets it for me.
Hell, I'll go nuts. I know he's starting at the back, just got in. I'll go the 7 of Sciarli. I'll go crazy.
All right, I like it. Racing at Kentucky Speedway. We'll see if the action tonight is as spicy as the chicken. Here we go from Kentucky Speedway, round 3 of the 2023 Area Truck Series, Season 5. Waiting for the green, and there it goes. Green flag flies, and we're racing at Kentucky. Big spiral in the background. Everybody scatters. Big check up there on the initial launch into turn 1. 3 wide, 4 wide into the first corner. That's not going to work.
Oh, man.
That's very tight. Anasogak in the middle of all that.
They somehow made it work for now. It didn't work last night, but a lot more room at this track, even though there's a dogleg at Phoenix. But either way, they got through all clear, and looks like the 52 of Matheson's already clear for the lead.
Tom Bourne, big lunge down the inside in turn 3. He is a man on a mission so far. Up to the inside of Mason Kane in the 31. Lap 1 complete, and they were not waiting around. Frantic start, and after last night, a lot of the drivers that ran the Phoenix race, Connor, we spent a long time under yellow. Maybe this is going to feel like kind of unchaining the dog here. They're going to get to run around a bit.
You would think so. Let's not speak too soon. Looked like a big wiggle from the 77 of Jacob Bell there, but he kept it straight. It looks like in dirty air, turns 1 and 2. Even though it's mostly full throttle, these drivers are going to have a lot of issue with the aero on their trucks.
Yeah, air on the trucks and getting yourself out of the groove. You have to wait for the rubber to kind of bake into the racetrack to really feel confident in your truck's ability. Wait for those tire pressures to come up as well. David Weishart, 7th. JT Poole back there in 9th place. And still double file through most of the field. The front 5 or so are basically singled out. Michael Curhan rides back here in 12th place at the moment in the 24.
Yeah, he's in really the start of that hornet's nest just a little bit. Not much of a hornet's nest, only some 2x2 action, but he is trying to work under the 38 of Shane Therian, who's using that top, trying to use that top to his advantage, but he's really not moved since. Right rear on Greg Mitchell, almost got a big tap from the 38. That was incredibly tight, as now he side drafts him through the tri-oval.
I think we're going to see a lot of that side draft action on the straightaways in particular. And again, this almost feels to me a lot like Texas in some ways, Connor. Tell me if I'm wrong with that assessment, but turns 1 and 2 has a very similar look and appears to drive a lot like Texas 1 and 2 with that reconfiguration, where the track is miles wide, but the racing line's very narrow, as jumped to the outside of Petchin in the 69.
Yeah, they made a little bit of contact. I think I know what you mean. It's really like a reversed version of Texas, where 1 and 2's flat out, just like Texas 3 and 4. But then it's the opposite on the other end of a track, where Texas 3 and 4 are full throttle, but 3 and 4 here is that part of the track that's very flat entry, really close to almost never going too wide through there. It's definitely similar to like a reverse version of that.
Yeah, I think you just see everyone bottom feeding right against that yellow line in 1 and 2, and I think that's the similarity I'm noticing. A bit more line difference in 3 and 4, but maybe that's not an advantage, just getting out of the way. There's Ben Pierce and Eric Wineland in the 21. He's up a couple of spots from his starting spot at 29th.
Just already getting through the field. Got to be very methodic about it, if that's a word. Just got to be very patient, very careful. We got to wait for drivers to make mistakes at a track like this. He's done a good job at that so far, as has the 7 of James Scioli. He's already worked his way up close to about the 32nd position.
Yeah, that progress has been real. I don't think it's as quick as I might have expected. I don't think it's a Scioli problem. I think it's just challenging to find an advantage here when you're in throttle so much. Scioli's on the bottom of this 3-wide scenario. They're the 13. Braxton DeWeese just got into the fence there a touch.
Just a little touch there. He'll be fine. While a little change at the front. Mason Kane's going to get the 3rd. We'll put Tom Borden to the top, and you can see that second lane. There's not much of it right now for the drivers at the front. Beckner's following through for that position, but right now this is a pretty intense battle, and this is already about 35th on back. That's pretty packed up over there.
Yeah, and Tom Bourne and David Weishart in this battle now. David to the bottom of the racetrack in 1 and 2. I think that's the quicker line at the moment. Weishart started 4th, went backwards early, just trying to get one of those spots he lost to Bourne back. But Tom looking pretty racy on the tailpipes of Travis Beckner now.
Ooh, just got to the back of Bourne there, trying to get under him, but that checkup from Tom Bourne's going to really kill his momentum. And the 71, Sam Fontaine, JT Poole are going to do a little bit of tandem in that Kentucky. Fontaine, great qualifying run, but's fallen back pretty harshly since then, but might get a spot back from Weishart. He'll fire it, charge that second lane, trying to get to the right rear of Tom Bourne. Not quite able to do it, but we'll see how those tires hold up trying to get that second lane going full throttle like that.
Yeah, little push there into turn 3. Weishart's going to tuck up underneath and just try to keep that left side pinned down to the line. It's so hard. The racetrack wants to dump you out. It's almost like you talk about off camber at a road course where the banking doesn't match the load that you want to put into the race car to make it steer. There are some tracks where you kind of fall into the banking, Connor, and you just kind of get into the groove and it's hard to get out of it. Here, it's like the track is constantly trying to dump you out of the bathtub every time you drive off into the corner.
Yeah, not a track that you want to miss the corner at. You'll lose a lot of time, as you'll see Fontaine try to get that top line going once again, as he's getting at least some runs up there, but he loses so much time through the center. I'm not sure if it's going to make enough of a difference, but at least have a look maybe on Tom Bourne, but just not much up there. Because of the banking, that second lane cannot really get going, and it really kills your entry when you're up there. So it's just very tough to make things happen without getting the guy loosened up by getting close to his back bumper, opposed to just hitting him in the turn 3, which we might see later today as well.
Look at how orderly everything looks now. Single file down the back straightaway. And the first double file action comes all the way back in a battle for 37th. Austin Gack-Jones, Braxton DeWeese in that 13. We saw him get in the fence. I don't think there's a lot of damage on that right front, but this is one of those places that if you get in the wall, just the slightest knock of your camber, your toe, your caster, it's going to kind of throw the truck just enough out of whack with the steering that it'll make your day miserable. Not even if it affects the handling, it'll just affect tire wear, as there's a couple trucks duking and diving back here. This is just up the road. Gary Waterworth, Mark Brannigan, Bobby Tinch.
And Tinch really washed up there. That was incredibly close, but we kind of saw that with DeWeese last week where he got turned out of turn number 4. Didn't hit anything seemingly, but it didn't seem like the damage hurt him to the point where he couldn't get back to where he was. So after 2 weeks in a row, he's having some unfortunate luck. Just trying to get through the field once again, but struggling to really go anywhere right now. He has literally not gone anywhere.
And Fontaine, David Weishart, side by side for 6th. Now what the multiple grooves are going to offer you as far as momentum, and then again with these racetracks that have gotten the reconfigurations to make 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 unique. See a big slide there by Weishart. you know, it's kind of frustrating because you don't have the same advantage in one corner that you do at the other. So you can get up alongside, but then you have trouble completing it unless you can keep the overlap until you come back around the next time.
Yeah, it's incredibly frustrating, as I'm sure I think a lot of drivers who raced last night will take it over whatever we had last night. And just having some green flag running is what these drivers need. A short race at that, somewhat short race, 120 laps around this track. Won't take too long, as you said earlier. JT Poole's having fun watching these two battle. He's just going to join the battle, probably go 3 wide bottom. Weishart's Fontaine already cleared Weishart before that became an option.
But it was very close. And JT kind of swings over. Mason Kane dropping off my timing, Connor.
Yeah, he's out. Quality is going down. Oh, he's back. Oh, that's not a good time to come back.
No, it is not. It's Travis Beckner's to the outside.
Oh my gosh, that would be a great replay from Beckner's onboard. I think he entered right inside of a right rear, and they almost crashed because of
there. You see him pop back in.
that's not fun.
Whew, boy. And the thing is, you just have to not panic because in those scenarios, iRacing won't turn the car back solid till there's no overlap, but it spooks you, and it definitely throws you off your rhythm to where you come apart and then come back together, and then you have contact, and it's a bad time for everybody. It is a huge distraction, but Mason just seemed to have one big blip there, and he's back on track.
We saw that Thursday night in the Pro Series race, and it did end up causing chaos. This time, a little bit more fortunate, more spread out racing than we would see at a super speedway, but does loosen that third position to Beckner, who's really charged early on. He started 9th. He's up into the top 3.
Had that happen at Daytona as well in the Cup Series race. Kyle Sieg up 1 spot, and Ben Pierce trying to take that spot back. 21st, he's dropped backwards and is just trying to resume his effort. Look at the high side, though. Goes around the outside in 1 and 2. So are we seeing a bit of a push to utilize that upper groove and bake in some rubber there so you've got some options?
I think we're seeing people working that top lane mainly because that dirty air is going to really hurt the truck so much on the bottom 1 and 2 that you really need to use something else. Got to find something different to do, as we're going to go 3 wide maybe. It looks like Dalton's not going to have enough of a run to do so, but it definitely seems like how bad the dirty air is on the bottom. That middle line just above where everyone's running on that yellow line might be the way to go.
Battle's all over. How about this one for 7th? Make that 6th. JT Poole on the inside of Sam Fontaine, who continues to just slowly drop down. Jacob Bell in the mixture as well, off to a very good start on his season. Started 11th. He's up 2 spots and looking for 2 more. He's got right at the windshield here, completing lap number 18.
Definitely seems like these drivers are faster than Fontaine, but if he can run a better 3 and 4, that middle line's actually defending pretty nicely right now. As you can see how spread out the field's gotten, certain packs here and there. That middle lane, that's kind of what I'm surprised to see actually working for defense in turn 3 and 4, and especially on the exit of 4. I just will see how long that holds up for Fontaine. It's like you said, he's been falling back pretty accordingly right now.
So I wonder, so we're about getting to halfway or maybe a third of the way through a fuel run here, what the fuel situation is going to be, whether you're going to want to get tires. I mean, our wear so far is about 1.5 seconds, and that translates to about 7 miles an hour average speed. So that's a big drop off, Connor. So tires will be important tonight, and I think we're going to get a lot of green flag running. I just have this sense that with the way that these trucks are racing, getting a bit more spread out, a bit more single file, we might see some desperation yellows from some drivers sending big moves, but it seems like we're going to get some green.
Yeah, really, because it's just gotten more spread out than what we've seen all season long. Vegas, it was pretty much a pack race, and that's what caused a lot of yellows there, as the Elite Performance teammates are going to race together. Bump draft, Shane Wolf and Balliet. Those two started next to each other. They've gone 1 position back along with each other, so not going anywhere here, and it looked like Shane Wolf really got held up on that entry. I'll let Jason Dalton take a swipe for the 21st position. He'll have help from Cameron Hearn.
Yeah, 0-2 down the inside. Kind of checks up there, does the 0-1. Cameron Hearn in the 23rd position. Started in 23rd. Here's 22nd, though, if he can get by 0-2.
I think I'll just note right now, seeming very hard to get through the field and make passes. Not what we saw at Vegas. Completely different race. Scioli obviously didn't have a lot of practice, so it's not too surprising to see it. But starting dead last, or really second to last, it's only up to 31st position in 20 laps. He's working for that position over Jeremy Brown right now, but very limited progress for the former champion, the reigning champion.
Yeah, this is the point I brought up a couple laps ago, is that Scioli should charge through this field, but he just has not made all that much progress. So at this rate, he will get to the front, but it's going to get harder as the farther you go forward. So it's going to take him almost the entire race to get there at this rate. Now he's going to need some yellows maybe to help him out with that and take away some of this track position. What it's not going to allow him to do is get ahead on the strategy where he is so effective in long runs. Here's Kane, Bourne, Weishart, Fontaine, and JT Poole all battling for 4th place.
You might see an undercut from Scioli depending on what the fuel situation is. So we'll definitely see some short pitters because of how badly you need track position, but definitely starting to get a logjam. Mason Kane's gone backwards. He's lost Travis Beckner, and now he's got about a 6 truck pileup behind him. Bruin with Weishart, Bourne, Fontaine, JT Poole, and Jacob Bell still hanging around.
Yeah, Bell's at the back of that shot, running 9th. So 4th all the way back to 9th in a 5-car battle for position. Weishart using that upper groove in 3 and 4. We saw it developing in 1 and 2 as well. Searching for grip as the night goes on, as the track rubbers in, as the temperature falls. Eric Wineland has now had a bit of a drop in connection.
Yep, definitely. Oh my gosh, he's in the wall out of turn 4.
Yeah, that's
hardware, gotta be.
Either that
PC
or,
maybe.
I was looking over on the camera, and I don't know what's going on. He's definitely upset, obviously, but I'm not sure that they're going to have much of a replay of the impact. But here's what we came back to right there. Bam. So
He's saying on radio he's trying to get the pit road. So all he said was his stuff's broke. Because you could obviously
well, stuff
not
is
just a
broke.
truck.
That's for
not
sure.
just a truck.
Yep.
Well, he's trying to get down. Might be a situation where his PC stuttered, or maybe a monitor went off with it. Looks like he will get the pit road at least.
Again, as I mentioned in the Cup Series race last night, Connor, because I know you weren't there for that one, we had a driver that their VR locked down, and there were some drivers on a monitor that had basically a big freeze as well. And normally I would say, call a little BS on that, because iRacing generally runs okay, at least in my instance. But this week, I've had myself, while driving, some really big long stutters that took 3 or 4 seconds to clear. Sim kept running just fine, but just visuals locked up. So there's something going on right now that I think we might see a couple drivers have to contend with tonight.
I got back home from a trip just before Monday night's race, and in practice I had really bad stutters, and when I would switch cameras, switch drivers in the replay, as that was a big moment between Bourne and Bell, I'd have big stutters and big pauses between switching cameras. Really weird. So like you said, yeah, something's up with iRacing. I don't know who's doing it. I don't know if I should blame Dale or not, but something's up. It's definitely not right. I think it was Cedric Hunter who had the VR issue.
Yes, and I think Cameron Hearn also have. Somebody else had something last night go wrong.
I know he wrecked. I think he had issues afterwards. As battle for second finally heated up. Yeah. It looks like Wineland said he actually PM'd me saying his screen was frozen for 10 seconds.
Yeah,
so
that's
like
exactly the thing that I had. So
yeah,
it's definitely something inherent that was introduced in a recent patch. I've never actually experienced something like that, at least within the last 2 years. So I think a recent update or something has brought some ire to some PC users. But working our way almost to the, what are we at, the 1/4 mark of this race. Next time by, Jake Matheson has been the dominant truck. He's led every lap since the drop of the green flag from pole.
Kind of like what we saw at the end of Monday night, just Matheson and Beckner holding serve with the rest of the field.
Ooh, that's
like,
tight.
Ooh, JT Poole, really? I think he's tired of racing Sam Fontaine. He has been working him over for 20 or so laps.
Look at the smile on his face, just that sly. He knows he just ran the 71 up the hill. And he's getting it done, but he's a joyful driver. Maybe it doesn't come like that on the radio all the time, but it's fun to watch his facial expressions as he's in the heat of battle.
Yeah, definitely having a blast doing this, and I'm sure he's especially happy because he's finally by the 71. It seems like has not had the long run pace, but we'll try that top line again, trying to get the run back on Poole, and he will have a run back. Ooh, Bell in the wall a little bit. Had to swipe down to keep Tom Bourne at bay. Bourne's looking, he's going to force it inside into turn number 1.
Tom Bourne underneath the 77. Bell throttles up. He'll hang on to that spot for now. And expecting a pit window, what are we thinking here? It's going to be about 52 to 56 laps, so just shy of halfway. Would anybody try to save a couple laps worth of fuel and make it a one-stopper? I don't think we're going to have a lot of yellows. I think the drivers have figured that out as well. So that means that you can kind of plan your strategy. It still could get upset, but I think you're safer planning your pit lap early tonight than you were last night.
As Sean Petchen goes by Greg Mitchell for 11th. Petchen started about 17th. He's up 6 spots, but I think we'll see everything. I think we'll see some overcuts. I'm not sure if that's going to be the way to go. I think you need to undercut because of how important track position's looking tonight. You're going to want to get the pit road early, make up spots on pit road. So I'd also be less surprised. I'd be more surprised to see drivers try to save fuel. And I would not be surprised to see drivers in within the next 3 to 4 laps.
What about James Scioli?
I think he might have to undercut as well. He is trying to see where he's gone. Really not much further from when we last saw him. He's 26th position, methodically making his way up, but even making this time up, he's still 10th off the leader. So yeah, I think even he'll have to undercut.
That's why, the undercut is one strategy, and maybe just turn it into an easy 2-stopper, lap 40, lap 80, go to the end of lap 120, or you could just try to save a couple extra laps and cut out an entire pit stop. I think that could work, but there's enough tire fall off, Connor, that I think that's going to take you out. Look at this, 8 miles an hour average speed difference between Scioli's best, a 31.379, and his last lap, a 33.052. So that's just a pretty wild difference as far as best versus previous. It tells you there's a lot of drop off, and you're probably better off with an undercut strategy versus an overcut in a stretch.
Even our leader, Jake Matheson, he started out his fastest time at 31.021. He's about 2 seconds off that as well, specifically like 1.8 seconds off, but the fall off is real. So like you said, that undercut's going to be looking mighty tasty for some drivers. 20th on back is our first battle I see right now. Colin Fambro and Ryan Swan, they're going side by side past our turn 1 camera. This looks like Swan's just going to have to get back to the bottom in front of John Hall. John Hall, he started about mid-pack. He's gone up 2 positions, but other than that, just not much movement.
I have to mention the paint on this 18. Valvoline, a big partner of Grid Life, which is the company I work for, and I actually had the pleasure, and you did as well, of working with Valvoline last year at Las Vegas at a Advanced Auto Parts trade show, and I had to design some liveries to use, and this one would have passed the test. It's really good. So I'm not sure where he got this one or if he made it, but it is a solid-looking livery that would pass all their brand standards.
Definitely would. Looks like Brad Slaughter Jr. is letting Mason Kane go high. I've seen Slaughter do some undercuts every now and then. Don't know if he's pitting or not. Yes, he is. That's going to be our first stop, lap 36. Yeah, and it's Weishart as well.
Yeah, drag Weishart with them. So this is just shy of that 40-lap 1/3 mark of the race. So I expect to see probably everybody, except for those that are trying an alternate just for the sake of trying an alternate, maybe trying to catch a yellow. They're all going to pit probably by or around lap 40. Now, the other thing to concern ourselves with is the pit lane entry, Connor. This is not an easy pit lane to get onto, but it's also not an exceptionally challenging one. So I don't know that we're going to have all the threat of a spin or crash onto the pit lane like we would expect at Daytona or a place like Dover.
More drivers coming in. Nathan Jump is in. It looks like Greg Mitchell as well. But I think you're right. I think it's one of the easier pit entries, but it's still not safe by any means. So we'll see as Scioli also pits. Unsurprisingly, that first stall he just barely made it into. But yeah, not surprised to see that. It's a short pit road too. It is not a long pit road like we saw at Phoenix last night. Very quick in and out compared to most tracks. So we'll see how this happens. See how it works out for everyone pitting this early.
What a wheel spin for Scioli, 14.4 second stop, and he's off and away. Here comes Tom Bourne onto pit lane as well, gets it woed down. There's just a lot of pavement and a lot of flat before you have to get down to pit lane speed, so it's not exceptionally challenging, and therefore I don't think that we can count on having a yellow flag from that instance. So that means that those that would stay out just for the sake of trying to catch a yellow, if they've been paying attention to how these races run at this track, I wouldn't count on it. We haven't done a broadcast here, Connor. SimTV hasn't in years. Not a very highly utilized track in iRacing, at least on the oval side, it seems, as of late. So I'm not sure how much experience drivers do have with this place.
Yeah, it hasn't been on the NASCAR schedule in 3 years, which is, it really hurts saying that because I didn't think it was that long ago. I think our last broadcast was probably Indy Elite, if I can say that without being censored.
Yeah, redacted.
With how that's going.
Yeah, well, obviously, if you haven't been following the news, Motorsport Games dying its death, and all the licenses being released, and that means we will probably, hopefully, get IndyCar back, and then with it, maybe BTCC, and maybe WEC. That'd be cool. Get an official WEC partnership. I would love that. Here comes Travis Beckner on pit lane. He's going to drag others with him. Mason Kane, Jacob Bell, and a whole host of others.
Yeah, this is pretty much everyone else as everyone tries to undercut Jake Matheson. Matheson didn't respond last week. We'll see if he does this week. So how much harder it is to pass. As it almost looks like it's a caution flag with how many drivers. That has to be about a dozen that came down that time alone. But that's pretty much splitting it evenly, coming 39-40.
Yeah, so
Matheson's in that. Look at where Matheson's running, by the way.
Yeah, up the racetrack. I just think it's, I always like being in this position. If you're doing this overcut as the leader, you know that you're in a position of strength because you've gotten yourself here, and now you're trapping everyone to have older tires later in this race. The challenge that you brought up is the ease of passing. He's going to be back in some traffic and will have to make his way forward. Is the tire wear enough to where it will negate the inability to pass like we saw this first run? I don't know. I think if he can get enough of an overcut, that'll be useful. If it's only a lap or two, I'm not sure it'll be enough, but it looks like he's probably planning on coming. Here he comes.
It almost looked like he shifted to third mid-corner. We'll see if he did. Maybe next run. Oh, that might be speeding.
That was pretty
it's
quick.
45 here.
That's a slow pit lane speed.
Ooh, that's going to be close.
That would be disastrous.
Oh, my goodness. Look at this mess out of 3 and 4. They are 3 by 3 across the line. My goodness. It's Jacob Bell in the middle of that.
Trying to get things sorted back out. There's Jacob Bell. Wow, it is messy with everyone rejoining the racetrack. Busy on the road right now, and again, now you have differences in tires 4 wide on the backstretch with the 71 of Sam Fontaine, who's dropped down to 23rd now. That sequence did not go the way he was hoping for. Oh. Look at the 24 up the hill, 3 wide again.
Matheson was clear. He did not speed, so he's good. So that I was very scared there, but he keeps it good. But this is an absolute mess with drivers on different tire strategies. Eric Wineland got back on track. He's in the middle of all this now, just trying to get out of the way of Garrett Grant and a few others.
Yeah, this is busy time at the moment. Once everyone's out of the pits and that inside lane stops being an on-ramp, it'll get a little bit better. But so where did Matheson pop out? Looks like he's 12th. There's 4 drivers that have yet to pit. Those 4 are James Shainwolf, Alex Cummings, Casey Lakatos, and Adam Capps. Brad Slaughter Jr. is the one that cycled to the lead, and he's got David Weishart right behind him. These were the first 2 trucks to pit lane about 10 laps ago.
I'm not be surprised to see these 2 kind of work together, stay in line, and just kind of push each other, use the draft to their advantage, and try to get away. As you can see, the difference on tires, about 7 laps. 6 laps between these drivers and Matheson. It's not too big of a gap tire-wise, but a big gap on track for the time being. It's almost a straightaway right now as these 2 in their own kind of zip code draft-wise as Matheson works around Nathan Jump trying to get back through the field himself.
That's a big gap that they've got, though. It's a big, big gap. But it is 8 miles an hour average speed a lap was the difference at the end of the run. So 15 laps to the halfway point. And this race has gone green so far. I could foresee this going green all the way to the end with how quickly things have progressed so far. Travis Beckner runs what will cycle to be 3rd. And Jake Matheson has cycled to what should be 5th. So not as far back as initially he was going. Now here's the lap time difference. Average lap speed last time by 169.7. That was just shy of his best lap. And that average speed compared to Brad Slaughter was a full 3 miles an hour faster. That translates to about 0.6 of a second in lap time.
Yeah, so he'll be there rather quickly, but for Slaughter and Weishart, it's really, like we've been talking about, trying to get some extra track position, as we'll see if it works. If this race does go green, it would work all right if they got a yellow. I think everyone would still get their next set, besides the drivers who have not pit yet, like Shainwolf and Alex Cummings and Adam Capps, who are yet to pit. They are 3 wide into turn number 1 with some of those drivers as well, as Justin Sogak just whipped around the outside of them all. This has really scrambled things up just from a racing standpoint. A lot more kind of packs that are about to pop, I would say.
Well, the first run, everyone was on the same set of tires, so you didn't have an advantage. Now you've got an advantage that you can use, or you have a disadvantage. So you're going to get past or you're going to make passes. It's going to definitely make the challenge of moving through the order easier. James Scioli up to 15th place with that run. Now he's at a bit of a disadvantage to those behind him, but I think he'll be able to cling to most of those spots. So that was an all-around gain for James Scioli, who came into the pits mid-20s. Jake Matheson has gotten by Tom Bourne. Next up on his list is Travis Beckner. So this is going to work out for Jake. I think we knew this. This overcut is a very strong position to be in. You have to just make sure that you don't lock yourself into doing it too extreme of an overcut for that last run and leave yourself enough time to run the leaders back down.
And he pit from about 24th, and that's when the pit cycle really started. So we're going to be having a look at that mark to see if he can stay above that. Meanwhile, the battle that we'll be looking at, not really the 8 of Slaughter and the 52 Matheson, it's really Beckner versus Matheson. Beckner only undercut him by about 2 laps, so these are about the most even the tires will be for the front runners. Matheson's chasing him down right now, and I am still shocked to see this top line that Matheson's been running.
Yeah, all Beckner can do is make that truck really wide. I don't think he's going to be able to hold him off forever, but if you can get him to burn up his tires and decrease some of that advantage, you'll be in a strong spot. Meanwhile, Mason Kane and Nathan Jump almost came together out of turn 2. That was pretty dicey with JT Poole following in behind. Here's a look at it in the Simrat Market replay.
JT Poole getting around him live. No fight from Nathan Jump with the tire disadvantage, but yes, these two got very tight. Jump just struggling to keep it on the bottom with older tires, and Kane a little lower on the track than I'd expect as well, but no damage, no harm, no foul, and they're clear of the 9 truck.
Jim Shane Wolf on pit lane. That just leaves Alex Cummings and Adam Capps as the last 2 holdouts on the racetrack. So at this stage, you have to expect that they're either going to try to save or they're going to pit as soon as they get run down effectively, which is not going to be very long from now. Adam Capps hits pit lane, just Cummings left on the road.
It's kind of what helped Nathan Jump get the victory. The yellow fell at the right time to get him track position in the top 5, and he never left the top 5 and ended up winning that race. So it's definitely what the 63 is looking to do as well. That worked, trying to make it on 1 stop, but that might not even be the move because he is losing a lot of time and he'll come down right now.
So left side of the screen, last lap, Beckner a 31.677, Matheson a 31.602. Not that big of an advantage. So Beckner has effectively put himself in front of Jake Matheson, and Matheson doesn't have a ton of advantage. He might still pass him. Remember, Matheson was out front by at least a handful of car lengths before. So Travis has got himself in the lead, and well, what would cycle to be the lead once they pass Weishart and Slaughter, which are just up the road. That was very tight out of 2. So just a lot of strategy, a lot of calculations happening in all the drivers' heads, but I think this 28 is almost in the sweet spot here.
Just about. The only issue is the dirty air he's going to get from these 2, and they won't let him by very easily. And look at that run from the top for Matheson. He might have a shot at the 28 right here. Yeah,
the last holdouts have come to pit lane as well. Here comes Matheson down the inside into turn 1 and right past Beckner. Beckner's going to cross him up, though. Look at the run he's going to build out of 2. Get to the rear bumper and give him the slightest little push here. But I don't expect a big battle between these guys.
Probably not. Matheson's just going to go to the outside of Weishart. He'll probably clear him at a turn number 4.
Yeah, now this is going to be hard for Weishart and Slaughter. About, what is that, 6-lap difference in tires. That's enough where, contact. Hello.
That was a little, yeah, it's not what I was expecting, but a little contact there. I don't think that'll hurt Matheson too much in this battle for position, but it will let Slaughter probably lead an extra lap.
And Beckner's going to follow the 52 around the outside. Weishart will have to concede this. I just don't think they've got the tire. That is always a short-term gain, long-term loss, the undercut strategy here. Look at Matheson just turn left out of 4 under the inside, and he is just going to lead this lap 56.
Well, I thought it'd get an extra lap for Brad. Unfortunately, it didn't. That was a wake-up call, that door that they fed each other, though. But Slaughter back to second, Matheson back to where he's been all night in the race lead, and trying to put a gap on Beckner now, who is struggling a little bit more to get by the 8.
This little gaggle back here, just down outside of 30th place. Dwayne Culberson back there in the 81. Bronson Stafford, Braxton DeWeese, Jason Dalton, and Mark Brannigan Jr. 30th on back. This is a really intense fight.
It's the back half. Really outside the top 30 has been an intense battle all night long. It's been the most fun battling, as a matter of fact, as they almost went 3 wide with DeWeese in the middle. Stafford, one of those early drivers who came down to pit road, kind of feeling the effects right now. And still trying to pay attention to James Scioli's endeavors. He's up to 14th now, still holding off some drivers. Ryan Swan trying to close in on them. Behind the 7, Garrett Grant's leading a line of about 6 or 7 trucks as well.
That 7 truck is on a mission. I think he's going to need a little bit of help tonight, though, even with the aggressive strategy he's been using. He might get up into the top 10. I don't think it's a race-winning truck unless he gets assistance from a yellow. That's possible, but especially with this battle as fierce as it is back here. But otherwise, out front, it has just been smooth sailing for Jake Matheson. Now that he's got clean air again on the nose of the truck, he should just put some distance on Beckner. And just for reference, we're only halfway through this next run. So Again, if you've got that overcut, you've got the lead to use, you're always going to do that strategy. It will always work out for you. It's really, really hard to defeat someone once they've got the gap and once they are able to pit after you and keep their advantage at the end of the run.
Yeah, most of those drivers, it will probably take the yellow like it did last week to knock Jake Matheson off the top step today as he starts to lengthen that gap. It's almost a second already over Travis Beckner. It's even further back to Slaughter and Weishart, who continue to fall back to the clutches of Tom Bourne. And we're getting a lot more spread out action. There's still battles all the way around the track. John Hall just got past Joshua Balliet for the 19th position, but a lot more spread out than even what we saw earlier. And it got pretty spread out earlier. And one thing I'm noticing, everyone's off that yellow line for the first time all night. Everyone's in that second lane for the time being.
Yeah, the lane. Everyone's playing around with different grooves. But what a contrast to last night, Connor. I know we're in very different machines at a very different racetrack, but last night we had a whole host of yellows, like 14 in total. Tonight, 60 laps, half the race under green, and looks like that trajectory is still on tap. Here we go, halfway through. Jake Matheson leads in the number 52, and just like last night, 52-28, the front runners here at Kentucky Speedway. And this is, again, a dangerous precedent for Matheson and Beckner to be setting if they're this good this early in the season. And I only say this because our calendar has so many mile-and-a-half racetracks on it. I know Atlanta's much more like a plate track next week, but it's still a mile and a half. We've got Charlotte, Darlington, Homestead, all very different tracks, but in the same vein. And then, of course, in the playoffs, we've got Kansas and Iowa that kind of, Iowa's a little mini 1.5 miler. And, of course, we've got Bristol and Auto Club, big and small, to kind of bookend that. So, pretty interesting schedule. We do road race once. That's in a couple weeks, Charlotte Roval. And that will be a very different group of drivers, I think, on top in that race.
Yeah, I think we'll definitely see things get a little bit on its head for our one road course of this season. We'll just have to wait until we get to that. But like you said, definitely these two in the top two once again. It's going to be very dangerous and going to be very tough to beat them from a driver and owner standpoint coming from me. So that'll be interesting to try to battle them all through the season. Has got another battle brewing at the front. JT Poole on fresher tires. He's trying to come through the field as they both get by Eric Wineland. But he passes Tom Bourne for a top 5 spot as he closes in on those two undercut drivers.
Sean Petchin, Ryan Swan, and John Hall. This is a battle for 15th place. And just behind it is at the 5 of Garrett Grant. I believe it is. That red and yellow truck looks like it. Good little battle here.
Cameron Hearn at the back of that line just gave a shot to Senesac. That was incredibly tight.
Let's have a look at it. Ooh, yeah, off into 3. It's right on board with the 4.
This is the group Scioli kind of pulled away from. It's like he was just trying to find a way to get to the outside or inside of the 09 and just ran out of time before the corner entry.
Some of the only truck-to-truck contact that we've seen tonight. Brad Slaughter Jr., Weishart falling into the clutches of JT Poole. So far, so good. All green so far in the area truck series from Kentucky. And you're watching Sim TV. Race fans, head over to simrapmarket.com for custom iRacing paint scheme templates that are simple and easy to use, so it keeps you more focused on the racetrack. And race fans, be sure to check out rickshotsauce.com for some of the best hot sauces made locally in South Florida. Try the Loxahatchee Classic, Golden Garlic, Palm Beach Pineapple, or South Beach Heat. Follow the Rick's Hot Sauce Rookie of the Year battle in the Area Cup Series and see which driver will take home the $100 prize as the highest finishing rookie in the point standings on the Cup Series side. 66 laps down and 122 complete. Kyle Heyer alongside Connor Horn tonight. It has just been all clean and as green as the walls surrounding this racetrack, Connor.
Yeah, done very clean. Not much contact really at all and very spread out after our first set of green flag pit stops. Jake Matheson up to a 1.7 second lead with teammate Travis Beckner, who's pulled away from Brad Slaughter Jr., David Weishart, who are on that undercut strategy. We still got a long way to go, but just still a lot of action to go, and the clean action for the time being at that. Still looking at Scioli. He's up to 14th, and for the time being he's holding on, but he actually just got by Greg Mitchell for the 13th position, so that 7's done a great job after adversity, just not getting here in time.
Joey Chapman following Joshua Balliet. This is a battle for 20th place on the racetrack. Transcendent Designs on the tailpipes. Oh, the 60's in the fence out of 2.
Again, most contact we've seen. Probably the first contact with the wall besides Wineland. I think Hearn hit the wall in response. Just, you know, monkey see, monkey do. Just followed him up there. But, you know, new damage model is going to help you with that.
Yeah, this isn't all that serious because of that new damage model, thankfully, but just washed up. And again, he's 27 laps on his tires, so they're starting to get worn out. Bryce Senesac's going to see the blood in the water there and try to grab 21st place away.
Meanwhile, Weishart and Slaughter, they have held on to third and fourth longer than I thought they would. It's kind of worked out much better than I thought as we see Curhan go to the bottom of Ryan Swan. Just trying to get some extra positions. Really good run for him last night. Got into the top 3 out of a final corner. Great run. Just not as well tonight. Falling back from his 8th starting position. Just trying to climb back through there. Retire strategy. Up to 18th now after passing Ryan Swan.
Yeah, and Tom looking in the mirror coming out of 4. He kind of slid up ahead of Ryan and was just trying to gauge what Ryan was going to do with his truck out of 4. Here comes Sam Fontaine. Now, Sam is on slightly newer tires than a handful of trucks ahead of him. He really needed that advantage. Fell all the way back to as low as 22nd coming out of the pits because he was on a pretty sizable overcut, basically on the same lap as Jake Matheson. But the second place truck, he had a lot of pace in qualifying, didn't really follow it up with the first run, and he had to lean on the tires in this overcut scenario to help him get back forward. So it's a top 10 truck. I don't think it's a winning truck, but a top 10 truck for sure.
Yeah, definitely trying to recover through strategy. Doing a good job doing that as we got a battle for those top 3 spots. Bruin, Slaughter, and Weishart, they finally slip back. And JT Poole's been on the bumper of Weishart for a little while. Only a matter of time until he goes. He'll look bottom here.
Down the inside into turn 1 and a big lift there from the 33. I just don't think he's got a lot of tire, but he's going to try to throttle up on the outside and cling to this spot. There's look on board JT.
Not be surprised. Sounds like Weishart told him to take it into 3, and he definitely will let him do that. So here comes the 26 trying to get back with his teammates into the top 3, and he should do that. He should not be waiting long, I should say, to get that position away from Slaughter as well.
49 laps to go, clicking them off, clicking them away. If we go green from here to the end, 26 minutes of racing. That's how fast this has gone. We've barely been live for an hour, and we certainly haven't even been racing that long, so it's just been a really fast-paced race. Little battle here for 16th. Greg Mitchell and Garrett Grant, the Toyota Tundra TRD Pro on board now with Grant chasing that number 2. Mitchell had just a frustrating night in Avondale last night. Just a ping-pong ball. Some nights through the bat, some nights through the ball. And last night, Greg Mitchell was just getting ping-ponged around everywhere.
Yeah, he's not having the greatest of nights. Started 6th, back to 16th now, falling back as well. Garrett Grant, he's gone forwards, 25th to 17th, and is still trying to continue that climb to get his 9th position of the night.
5, the butt kicker truck on the bottom. The 2 with the DeLeo Bram & Co. on the outside. Bit of a drag race here between Ford and Toyota. F-150 versus Tundra TRD Pro, and the 5 almost through. I always thought it was strange that Ford didn't use like the Raptor or something as their model of choice.
It's just tradition, I suppose. Oh, they're 3 wide for 20th, excuse me.
Oh boy. There they are. Cameron Hearn in the middle of it. And Hearn's night, 23rd. He's just been stuck here mid-pack. He just has not had the speed and has better tires than most of those ahead of him, but not able to really parlay that into multiple passes.
Excuse me, battle for 12th almost got 3 wide as well. That's James Scioli. Even on older tires, he is catching drivers ahead of him. He almost got a bump from John Hall, who's also just trying to come back from a not a great qualifying effort. Both these drivers trying to work over Colin Fambro.
Yeah, so he's about 10 seconds back from the race leader right now, running in 13th. Now, that's too big of a gap to make up on an undercut without going really severe. But a top 10, a top 5, still on the table for the 7. I think if he wants to win this race, whoa, watch the 66, big understeer there. Bobby Tinch just trying to get out of the way. Watch the steering on this truck as he tried to get out of the way here. Turns into the corner and just turns that wheel hard left, scrubbing those tires to pull that thing down to the apron. That's how little grip these trucks have once they're already at their limit. Bryce Senesac on pit lane, and we're just shy of that 2/3 mark, and we're going to see some trucks come to pit road for their last pit stop of the night.
Yeah, definitely going to see some drivers try something different this time. Looks like the top 4, top 3 will stay out. JT Poole just got 3rd position. Looks like Weishart's going to pit pretty early once again. This will be about a 44-lap run to the end for him.
Wonder when Scioli will hit pit lane, if he's going to decide to stay out and use up the tires a bit more, or will he pit earlier? He's got 39 laps, which is the second oldest set of tires. The 18 right out to the outside lane out of 2. That was tight. Fambro did not want to give this up, neither did John Hall.
I think with someone with so much speed like Scioli, I think he can afford to go long this time and have the pressure tires to the end. He should get those spots back. But it also, on the other side, I know track position's still very, very important, so wouldn't be surprised to see him undercut just a little bit again, but I think he would have hit right now if he was on this strategy. Doesn't seem like anyone else has come down this time.
Yeah, not a lot of takers. Matthew Rodriguez back in the mid-20s in the 51 truck has hit pit lane. The 18 and the 03. Just shy of 40 to go.
Here comes Slaughter and Tom Bourne.
I think our highest potential for a yellow is in the laps right around lap 80 to 85, when there's kind of a half and half field spread of new tires and old, and drivers crossing lanes. I mentioned the exit of turn 2 is kind of like an on-ramp where you're merging back into the main straightaway.
Sorry, they're almost, I keep doing this to you. They were almost 4 wide with James Shanewolf across the start finish line. I hope maybe that camera got it, but it seems like every time there's someone on new tires, things get pretty crazy.
Well, this is nuts. You're right. Yeah. We're going to go back and look at this in a minute, but they're still 3 wide. 40 laps to go this time through, getting squeezed.
Oh, that's Bobby Tinch.
51 got a pit lane speeding penalty, by the way, Matthew Rodriguez.
Like Ben Pierce is in.
Mark Brannigan Jr. got mucho squeezed there by the 91. All right, let's go back and have a look at that conundrum on the front stretch that you mentioned that we were not playing live. Look at this.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. No one else pitting, so we can take a look at this. 3 wide here. Bobby Tinch is on fresh tires, just trying to, make up some ground. He looked 4 wide. In fact, he went 4 wide. Then he backed out of it, and Senizak almost right-reared him completely. That was almost where our crash happened.
Yeah, and that's what I'm talking about. That difference in speed is where you're going to find the most volatility here. Here's the 9, a jump. James Scioli, and Scioli seems to be running a little bit longer here. This is only going to benefit him. He's in a position now where he's running with the front group. He can afford to overcut, lose some time in the short term. Look at the 33 on fresh tires through the middle. And JT Poole, did JT just get a speeding penalty?
Ooh, that was really close.
I think he did.
He looked like he was going slower than what Matheson was doing, but we'll have to see even more pit stops. Fontaine's in. It looks like, I thought that was Ryan Swan behind him. No, that's Sean Petchin, Curhan. Ryan Swan did come in. It's going to be tight.
I don't think he sped, but he threw his hands up on his head like he had done that.
He did get speeding. It was speeding. Oh, my goodness. Matheson and Beckner are in now, by the way. Beckner was a little hot getting in, but I think maybe he'll be fine. It was also pretty similar.
Yeah, there's no way to recover from that tonight. It's just going to destroy you. There's, all but 4 or 5 trucks on the lead lap at the moment. The Nathan jump is one of about 11 holdouts that have yet to hit pit road. Handful more hitting pit lane now. Jake Matheson is in.
Things get really crazy with all these drivers all over the place.
Not a lot of drivers that were near the front waited longer than Matheson last time, so that he's not going to have the best tires of the top 10 now. But
speaking of bad luck, continuing, Cameron Hearn speeding.
Oh, man. That one's not luck. That's a self-inflicted penalty, which almost hurts more.
Definitely hurts your mental psyche more. Bronson Stafford comes in. Still waiting on a few others. Jump, Mitchell, Shanewolf, Lakatos, Kyle Ryan. I think might be some of the last 5 to come in.
So Matheson still is leading Beckner now. They came in together. So no advantage for Beckner nor for Matheson.
David Weishart still out ahead of them, but that will not last nearly as long as it did last run.
No, tire difference is 6 laps, but only about 9/10 of a second between them. So just 5 drivers still out front. Jump, Mitchell, Shanewolf, Lakatos, and Kyle Ryan. Everybody else has made their second and final stop of the night. This is just textbook long run intermediate racing here. This is the standard strategy of overcut or undercut depending on who you're around, pit at the third marks, and just get the job done. You're not going to have a lot of chaos around you like we had last night to really mix things up. So the decisions you make on lap 40 affect the rest of your race. Look at Garrett Grant trying to find his way around some traffic here.
Trying to get by Bobby Tinch, who's just letting the field by. 2 laps down at this point. Grant's had a solid climb through the field. JT Poole just coming through, just trying to, now just thinking what could have been unless he gets a slew of yellows, which looks unlikely. Greg Mitchell, the race leader, finally comes down the pit road. The Nathan Jump was already down. Looks like James Shane Wolf will probably assume the lead.
Yeah, that look says everything. Smiling earlier, not going to be having such a great time now. 37th place, and likely won't gain a lot beyond that. He might make it up to about 30th or so, but even that's going to take a lot of effort. David Weishart about to lose a position here to Matheson, and this one might be for good.
I would say without yellows, this will be for good. He doored earlier. Wouldn't expect him to put up much of a fight this time. See what he can do, just riding that top line. Matheson, I think, wants to top, so he'll follow Weishart a little bit into the corner, but he'll have the right rear on corner exit for sure. Maybe not. He'll swoop low.
And here comes Matheson, and he will take the lead away with about 32 laps to go.
Further behind that, Beckner is just now getting by Brad Slaughter, as he will make that pass easily.
Tom Bourne's back there as well on equal tires to Slaughter. And James Scioli has some of the freshest tires of the top 15 or so, and he's just going to be picking them up and laying them down here for the rest of this race. This is, I told you earlier, it's going to take all race to do, and it will. He might get his way up into the top 5, maybe even better than that, but this has just been a long trek to get there. If he had any setbacks at all, any spin, any speeding penalty, no way he would have accomplished this. This is about as perfect of a race as you can have. The strategy, he played beautifully, but now the rest is just in his hands in the last 30 laps or so.
The only way it could have been more perfect is if he got there about 5 minutes earlier to qualify, but this is definitely the drive of the season for anyone so far, regardless if he wins or not. Obviously, Matheson is going to be right up there with the dominant performance last week and the week before, but this is impressive. With how hard it's been to pass tonight, to maybe come away with a top 10 would be very impressive.
Well, and he knew it was going to be hard to pass, and he realized that the first run when he only made up 10 or 12 spots. So he pit early, got fresher tires, passed a whole bunch of people, was able to hang on to those spots. That's a key point. And then the second time around pit lane, he pulled the overcut strategy to have an advantage to use to the end. That was about as well of a played strategy that you can get when you start from the tail of the field. 30 laps to go. Jake Matheson's out front in the number 52 Miller Racing Chevrolet. Weishart, Beckner, Slaughter Jr., and Tom Bourne will be the rest of your top 5. Just one truck left to flinch to hit pit lane. That's James Shane Wolf. He's got 40 laps on his tires. We'd expect him anytime shortly.
He went the longest last run, I believe. He went 50 laps, so he could still probably go about 10 or more. So we'll see how long he really waits to try to maybe catch a yellow.
That's really your hope, because if you stay out any longer, you're not going to have enough time to utilize your tires on your overcut strategy. So I don't know that that's, other than waiting for a yellow, that there's any key advantage of that particular strategy. Here's Colin Fambrough, Sam Fontaine. I mentioned Sam Fontaine earlier. Kind of dropped out of the front row after starting second. It's a top 10 truck. He should get there, but just when Shane Wolf pits, and then if he can grab this one away from Fambrough for 11th.
About 3 lap fresher tires than the 18 truck he's passing around the outside, so that should be a pretty easy spot to make up. It'll be the same situation for John Hall, who has even fresher tires than the 71 truck. He should also get by for that position. Also, quick to note, didn't really note Justin Anasoga dropping out earlier. He had power go out on his end.
I saw that happening. Just wasn't at a point where I could mention it, but James Matheson passes Shane Wolf for the lead.
James Matheson?
Jake Matheson passes Shane Wolf. And Shane Wolf, well, I would imagine would hit pit lane now. There's not a lot to gain at this stage.
I guess trying to look at where he was running before pit stop started. I guess try to stay out until you drop back all the way to where he was in 34th. So I guess maybe no point in not staying out until the fuel goes, as Sean Petch and Bryce Senesac continue the battle.
Yeah, I think at this point we're so spread out that chances for a yellow are pretty slim. You might as well just cut your losses. JT Poole, by the way, 36th, and he's got 4 trucks he can pass. The best he could do in this circumstance is going to be about 32nd place, I think, and he needs to make up a fairly significant amount of time to get there. He does have better tires than most of the drivers ahead of him, but I still think much beyond 30th is going to be a challenge. That is just catastrophic. When a night when it's been so green and so many trucks on the lead lap, a pit lane speeding penalty is a death sentence here.
Someone did it at Phoenix last night under green. If we got that chance, with the way the race was going, you would be able to recover from it. But like you said tonight, with green flag race, you can't recover from those speeding penalties unless you're just that much faster. The only race I can really remember where anyone did that was like Denny Hamlin in the Southern 500, and that's just because Darlington's a different beast.
And Yusuf Ghali last night, Alt F4 to avoid causing a yellow, and then drove back up onto the lead lap and finished top 10, I think, top 15 at least. So
got a rule made after him, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, and I understand the rule. I think avoiding, in that instance, I understand just not wanting to cause a yellow, but there are reasons for why not to do that. One of them being the broadcast, because I'm watching a car and then I'm not. But coming up on 20 laps to go, got to give somebody, Michael Curhan, something to complain about. Or I guess I should complain about something to put on his list. So I'm going to say lack of drama. We had all of it last night. We bottled it up and kept it in the desert. We did not bring it east to Kentucky.
3 wide, there's some drama. 3 wide. We've had some 3 wide moments. They doored for the lead, technically. Matheson and Weishart. Short-lived, but it happened.
Yeah. I mean, that's like middle school drama. It's not real.
Well. Neither is the cars. The racing is.
That's a fair point. You got me there. Well, good little scrap back here. This is mid-30s amongst lap-down trucks. Kyle Ryan is in the midst of that 91.
It's 2 battles in 1. You got Kyle. It's gonna 2 battles in 1. This is Bell and Scioli for 9th, and then like you said, that battle for 35th. That's Kyle Ryan and JT Poole and Bronson Safford trying to catch up to Kyle Ryan. Also, not too far up the road is Adam Capps. It's hard to battle when there's other battles looming as well. They're also catching Shane Therian very quickly for 8th.
Yeah, that 38 truck's up the road and running a bit slower. He's on the chopping block as well. There's the 26 of JT Poole coming through. Had speed to be top 5 tonight, just isn't going to work out. Bronson Stafford takes a hard left out of 4, battling in for that 26. And Shane Wolf hits pit lane 48 laps into the run.
About time, and like I said, he did, because of how long he went on the very first run as well, he was outside the top 35, so I guess at that point just trying to catch a yellow, and he'll try to pack up and get ready for next week as Stafford dives way low trying to battle the 0.5 of Capps. As Nick Matheson is pretty much gone as he has been all night. 2.2 second lead over Travis Beckner. Well,
20 laps to go while we got this truck on the screen. Race fans, fall is here, and before you know it, so will winter. Bundle up this season with shop.areairacing.com and shop from our selections of champion hoodies, jackets, and sweatshirts. Easier to shop, quicker to ship, better to wear. That's shop.areairacing.com. Same colors on board this number 52 truck tonight. Nice throwback to what looks like kind of a Mark Martin Valvoline livery with the kind of the crayon wax coloring on the side there. Looks good. And Matheson's truck, it could be painted just flat black and it would look just as good because it is the truck that has led the most laps tonight. Here is a look on your timing screen of who has led what. 78 for Matheson. Brad Slaughter's led a couple. Shane Wolf led 12 again by doing those long overcuts there, and that effectively gets us to all the laps led. Now, the stats show us that we have had collectively 5 different leaders and 9 lead changes. Most of those, actually all of those, were due to pit stop, staying out, long cut, overcut strategies, that sort of thing. Not from on-track lead, like real lead passes. So it has been an all Matheson show tonight. And The 26, JT Poole actually set the quickest lap, a 30.888.
Yeah, Poole did that actually after a speeding penalty, so driving angry makes it go faster. It was a 30.887. As we were talking about, the track was going to speed up. It has. Track time's down a little bit, but not too much, to the point where it's going to be a completely different track as Matheson continues to pull away. And Beckner is pulled away very clear for second as Weishart and Brad Slaughter Jr. fall back to the clutches of Mason Kane, but Mason Kane's and Tom Bourne have not been able to really do anything about those two undercutting either. So just from a track position standpoint, it looks like it's going to work out for Weishart and Slaughter.
Ooh, wow, the 38 was really tight to the wall out of 2. Scioli goes by into 7th, and Scioli could get a top 5 out of this, especially if these two fight for too much longer.
Bourne under Kane. No run there, though. They're going to get disrupted by Kyle Ryan on fresher tires, who's pulled away from JT Poole. This battle could help Scioli catch them as well, but we're closing in on 15 to go. It's going to be a little tough to even make that gap up.
This could be a record speed broadcast for the Truck Series as well. We've been live for only an hour 22 minutes, including all the qualifying and pre-race coverage, and we'll be done in 8. So that's an hour, that's 90 minutes. This might be the shortest non-road course broadcast that we've done for the Truck Series.
Ooh, we almost spoke too soon because John Hall and Bronson Stafford almost got together there. It's like Jacob Bell had to give way to John Hall. John Hall's also had a pretty good recovery as Kane continues to fend off Tom Bourne as this battle of trucks continues, with Shane Wolf just blowing by all of them. And John Hall getting by Jacob Bell, who starts to fall.
Here's a look at that you just pointed out. There's a 61 on the high side, the 03 going by on the bottom. And Hall just couldn't turn it anymore, and Stafford right on the quarter panel. That was very tight.
I think they made contact. We've seen that end in disaster before, but they were able to get away with it.
Las Vegas last season, yeah.
Well, yeah.
I think there was the leaders in the Truck Series.
The Truck one, yes, Beckner.
But also the Cup Series.
Well, yeah.
That one wasn't.
That was a little different.
A little different. Not the same scenario, and also not in the corner.
No, but yeah, Beckner and Scioli did the same exact thing, and that was closer to corner exit as well. We didn't see that last week at Vegas, and they got away with it this time. Tom Bourne continues to work over Kane, just can't do anything about it. And Scioli is catching. He was about 0.2 faster, just not sure. I guess he is close enough to the point where he could get there in time, but it's going to be a little bit harder to pass at that point.
Yeah, he's going to run out of a tire advantage, but I still think he has enough of one that he could make this a realistic shot. 1.5 back now and quickly closing. I've got a little red box that tells me when drivers are within a range.
Ooh,
26 in the wall. I think that was Poole.
Yep, that was definitely JT Poole, just trying to salvage something.
Yeah, this is coming out of 2. We're right behind the 38 of Therrien, and then just washes up. Pow!
Ooh. Decent hit.
I don't think we have any trucks other than Eric Wineland that have any significant visible damage.
And even Wineland repaired his. The only driver out of the race is not for damage. It's for power not working as well as it should.
Yeah, 42 trucks running after 109 laps. That's a lot. It's a good night.
I think we only had 43 cars running for about 5 laps last night.
And Connor, if you recall last season, we were not off to a great start last season with as far as yellows and incidents go. And so far this season, it's been a lot better. And this race in particular is definitely a highlight as far as the quality of the racing that we're seeing this evening.
I think we'll definitely. I would say the Cup Series might scratch Phoenix off and put Kentucky in.
Yeah, I mean, like I said last night in the post race, I had a really good time watching that race. Usually, races with a lot of yellows, I get, tired and frustrated by the end. But last night, for whatever reason, the amount of different drama and the amount of different drivers that had issues, it was entertaining enough to keep up with, which isn't always the case. So I had a good time last night. I'm sure a lot of others did not.
Definitely looking to be pretty clean as Colonel Sanders watches on as the night settles in just about here, as he got some friends next to him as well. Still see how spread out this is, even on our start-finish line cam. Just a very spread out race after 2 green flag pit cycles. It is definitely looking like a much bigger conveyor belt than what you'd see at Martinsville or Bristol, but it's definitely having that sort of feel. Got trucks all over the track. Like you said, with 42 trucks still running, you're going to have that.
Under James Shane Wolf running mid-30s on fresh tires. He's going to feel like Superman right now. Ooh, that was really tight to the 91 of Kyle Ryan. He just put that corner on the 91's left rear quarter panel, and that was message sent and received there, I think. Oh, more
they're
trouble.
not done.
Yeah, I think those two were having a bit of a spar. Shane Wolf is on a mission to grab as many spots as he can here and just click them off, and Kyle Ryan was in the way of that and obviously showed his displeasure there.
Sure, Kyle Ryan will remember that for weeks to go, as he got a little bit used up there for that position.
You know what is one of the most frustrating things is when someone uses you up and you don't have enough tire to pay it back.
Oh, yeah.
That's a tough scenario to be in.
They just get away from you, and you don't want to wait for them because that's too blatant. So it's like, okay, fine, next week. But then next week you're done. You don't care about it anymore. And then after the race, you're thinking, oh my God, I should have paid him back. But then after that, it's over.
Yeah, the next time you see him, you've forgotten all about it. Here's Michael Curhan throttling up to try to run down Joshua Balliet for 16th. Curhan's night, we documented him starting 8th. This strategy has not played out, I think, the way that he was hoping for.
Yeah, definitely not. He's not alone in that sense either. Greg Mitchell started 6th. He is only 19th at this point, so definitely not the night he wanted. Sam Fontaine, outside front row, as he's going to end up 11th, as Grant Bronson Stafford just hit behind him. But definitely a few drivers who just got a little behind on strategy, just like Curhan tonight.
And James Scioli only has about 5 laps left to do it, but he has run down Tom Bourne and Mason Kane. Could he steal a top 5 or even more? I mean, Brad Slaughter's not too far away either. That's maybe a bit too much to ask in 5 laps, but James Scioli is there.
Yeah, he has much fresher tires than the 8 and 33, but I don't think he'll have the time coming to 5 laps of racing to go.
Into 3rd gear.
Look at a launch he got off of 4, though. I thought I did see the 52 doing that as well, but Scioli's doing it no matter what. He's trying to pull the right rear on Tom Bourne, just couldn't do it there. He'll swoop back bottom to try to get positioning on him anyways.
That was well done, and he's going to get it all in one go here. I don't think the 16 is going to be able to throttle up in time. Scioli into 6th. Only 3 more tenths to catch Mason Kane. Beyond that, just 3 more tenths to catch Brad Slaughter, and Kane might catch Slaughter for him. And that battle is already under fire with a lap truck in the middle. 4 to go next time by, and Scioli through the gears, trying to find some speed to grab a top 5. We will talk to Scioli if he can accomplish this.
Yeah, no doubt about this. It's like Slaughter's really starting to fall off. But Mason Kane was running pretty much the same speed as Slaughter, so not much he can do with the 8 if that continues. Scioli was faster by 2 tenths from both of these drivers.
What a mission this has been. Didn't have any yellows to assist, just raw strategy and pace. 31's wide, he's going to send it down the inside. And the 8's getting hounded by that 91. Didn't get a good run off the corner, though. The 31 shallowed up the entry in order to build the exit.
Yeah.
Feels the pressure coming. 3 to go.
I was about to say Kane complained of a 91. They almost touched there, but he wanted Kyle Ryan out of the way. Kyle Ryan will perfectly oblige, but Brad Slaughter was not happy about that because that puts Mason Kane all over him for this position now. Yeah,
this is a 3-way fight for 4th. Slaughter, Mason Kane, and James Scioli. Scioli again, a big lunge down the inside. He's going to downshift. That will also help the rotation of the truck as well. Throttles back up. This is for 5th place. Scioli's got it for a moment. He's going to need a side draft to hang on to it, though.
I don't think he'll be able to. Slaughter is going to give the draft. He's going to block Mason Kane's line. Which line do you block? You're almost guaranteed to lose a spot. Scioli, big dive to the bottom. He clears Kane, gets to the left rear of Slaughter, and now Kane to the right rear, back to the 7.
Oh, this is great stuff here. White flag is going to be waving this time through for Jake Matheson. He has been the dominant truck tonight, but the battle everyone's got their eyes on at the moment is this one for 4th. James Scioli from 42nd on the grid, trying to get 5th and maybe one better from Brad Slaughter Jr. White flag for this trio.
Kane's going to push Slaughter back clear, and that's going to really hurt Scioli, but watch this dive to the bottom from the 7. He won't let it go very easily, and Kane might try the crossover on both of these drivers out of turn number 2, but Scioli's clear of both of them.
Look at the run he got through 1 and 2. That was impressive. Jake Matheson, talk about impressive. From pole to win, led 97 laps. Jake Matheson in the 52 area shop truck wins at Kentucky. Beckner 2nd, Weishart 3rd. James Scioli from 42nd to 4th on the last lap, and behind him to the stripe photo finish for 5th. Slaughter,
Slaughter got him.
By how much? By 11 thousandths of a second.
Mason Kane didn't want it to end like that, but it will. But Slaughter held on. Bourne, Period, Hall, Bell, the top 10. And dare I say, the best truck race I've ever watched in area. That was incredible stuff from numerous drivers.
Watch Kane take that left. There was the margin of victory, well, margin of fifth, I should say, for Brad Slaughter Jr. over.
Victory for him.
Yes, I'm sure he'll take that one and be thrilled with it. But Jake Matheson, we got to talk to Scioli. We're going to talk to 4 drivers in this one. Jake Matheson trying to do the week sweep here in the area series. Wins last night at Phoenix, surviving a very different kind of onslaught than he had tonight. And the reality was tonight he just didn't have one.
Mason Kane came up and slammed Slaughter on pit road. I don't think he was as appreciative as the battle, but no surprise to see Matheson here. I don't think we'll see him Thursday night, but he'll definitely be the guy to look at for 2 of the 3 titles this season. No doubt about it. Very, very strong and very, very dominant in the past 2 weeks.
Very, very strong run for that driver, and we're going to talk to your top 4 here in just a moment's time. Let's roll through your race results here tonight for the 3rd round of the Area Truck Series here from Kentucky. Jake Matheson, Travis Beckner, David Weishart, your top 3. Then James Scioli, what a drive. Brad Slaughter Jr. to the stripe, 11 thousandths over Mason Kane. Then Bourne, Darien, Hall, and Bell, the rest of the top 10.
In the gap, Jacob Bell was half a track behind in 10th, but he did hold on for that 10th position. Then we get a little bit behind him. Sam Fontaine started outside front row, couldn't hang on to it, but got back to 11th. Fambro, Grant, Nathan Jump, last week's winner, cannot back it up as much. 14th, Sean Petchin. Balliet, Curhan, not a great night for him. Senesac, same thing. Then Greg Mitchell and Ryan Swan, the 20 finishes 20th.
And down the rest of the order, Gary Waterworth in 21st, Jason Dalton, Joey Chapman, Kyle Sieg, 24th. He just kind of hung around that mid-20s, could not find his way forward. And then here's some drivers that didn't have great nights. You have to mention JT Poole. What a frustrating way for his run, his top 10 run to end. 34th with a pit lane speeding penalty. Eric Wineland out early with that crash because of a hardware issue. Then Donald Ray and Ryan Nowicki, no qualifiers for this one. Let's talk to James Scioli, and typically we only, I got to grab him. My Discord window is small. There he is. James Scioli. Thanks, Connor. we don't normally talk to the 4th place finisher, but James, given enough time, the smallest shovel can move mountains. Tonight, you started 42nd and drove all the way to 4th with a last lap pass on Brad Slaughter Jr. and Mason Kane. What a drive, and you didn't have any assistance from yellow flags or anything of the sort. You had to do that the old-fashioned way, play the strategy. Take us through your night and that climb forward and how you were able to play that so well and take advantage of the tires on both runs.
Yeah, unfortunately we can't be talking to you guys for a win or something, but I ran the College Series race right before this started, so didn't have any time to qualify, didn't have any time to run any practice laps. My first lap on the track was right in the race, and I don't think I've ever driven this configuration of Kentucky, so that whole first run was just kind of a learning experience, just trying to figure out what to do. And this might be the tightest setup I've ever driven in my entire life, so just trying to figure out how to somehow keep the right front on it if you can. And it was real difficult, so I just decided to short pit the first run, try and get some track position, and then went a little bit longer the second run to try and be on offense towards the end. And I can't believe that I made it all the way up to 4th, just with how strong Dirty Air and draft and everything was. It was a crazy race for sure. Happy that we could make it to the front, and yeah, just feels good to go green the whole way. No cautions, especially after Monday. You know, it's just kind of nice when you can get into a rhythm and just let the race naturally play out. It doesn't happen often, so always look forward to the opportunities when it does.
Yeah, big climb, James, and a very, very strong result. Great points night as well in tallying those up for the season. So congrats, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys. Got to give a huge shout out to Rick's Hot Sauce, Coach Scioli. Get you $7 off there. And then big shout out to Flat Out Racing Network and Sky Motorsports with them in the Truck Series this year. So happy to finally have a good points day for them, and hopefully we can continue the climb and finally get a win here in the coming weeks.
Well done, James. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.
And finishing this race in 3rd place was David Weishart. Now battling different strategies throughout the night and kind of on your heels there in the closing stages with the undercut strategy that you and Brad were trying out. Didn't work out to grab the win away from the 52. That truck was bad fast, but 3rd place, good points night, and spent most of the night up front. Take us through it.
Yeah, man, this setup, it was, so tight. You had plenty of turn for the first 10 laps or so, and then from that point on, the Dirty Air in 3 and 4 was just so bad. me and Brad really wanted to short pit and get in front of them guys because we thought the tires would equal out. And man, it just seemed like every time, at least on that, after the first pit stop, they got around us, and that's about when the tires started equaling out. But overall, pretty good night. We went green to checkered, completely green, so that's good as compared to last night. So I'll take tonight over last night, reckon on lap 2. But yeah, good to have a top 3 to finally get some momentum into the season.
Great night for David Weishart and the number 33 team. Congratulations. We'll see you next week.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you. And moving on now to the driver that finished second. And, well, I know it's maybe bothering you just a touch that it's not first, Travis, but this week has been good for you and your team. Just maybe good's an understatement. You guys have been phenomenal, both in the Cup Series and the Truck Series. Jake's racking up wins. You're racking up top 3s. Just got to be pretty satisfied with tonight.
Yeah, very, very satisfied with tonight. Second again, I'll take it for team points, but just need to get that one win. I need that one win, so I know I'm still good. And yeah, huge night tonight for us. Happy for Jake. Still want that win coming for him sometime soon. But yeah, we had a huge night.
Yeah, really solid night, Travis. Obviously, the track was dropping off pace quite a bit. We noticed that the track seemed to widen out over the course of the night. Everyone was bottom feeding the first run, but it seemed like you could kind of pick up the middle a little bit towards the end. How much did the track progress from lap 1 to lap 120?
It depended on the way how you drove it. Like, you could have downshifted in 3 and 4, ran the bottom. That would have been just as fast as running the middle in 3 and 4. But I was like, I'm just going to stick to running the middle of 3 and 4 with Jake and just do what he does and keep on learning.
Well, good night for you and the team, Travis. Congratulations on a job well done.
Yep, before I go, I'd like to thank my sponsors, Calusa Pines Landscaping, Celsius Area Shop, Alien Gear Holster, Huckett Films, everybody at Miller Racing, and Low Dollar Racing. Y'all taking time out of your day to come broadcast this race. Can't wait to go back and watch this. Gotta thank my mom's fiance, Steve, my mom, my dad, and my grandparents that are watching right now, and the admins for adminning the race. They got an easy night tonight, unlike last night. So.
Yeah, where's that? The first couple seasons, Travis, we had a lot of drama. You've been, right up there, just quietly finishing 5th. I need some drama, so let's spice things up. But congratulations on a job well done. We'll see you next week.
I told you I adored him.
Yeah, he doored me last night. No one caught him, but he doored me pretty good.
I had Carter on me after that. He was all over me. He didn't like it.
Yeah, he didn't like it as well.
All right, Travis. Thanks a lot. We'll see you. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
I tried to make some.
Well, Jake, we're getting used to talking to you very quickly and quite a bit. Just a really strong night tonight. Led 97 laps en route to a victory, and this week, 2 for 2. Things are going very, very well for you in that 52 camp. The area shop Chevrolet back in victory lane tonight in the Truck Series from Kentucky. You just had this thing under control from the drop of the green flag.
Yeah, thank you very much. Honestly, I am absolutely astonished that it went green to checkered. I mean, that's what I was hoping for from the start. I love green flag runs. I love the green flag pit stops. I love the dynamic of that kind of racing. So love to see that. I mean, you said it, man. Just kind of put your head forward, run some good laps, keep the right front on it, and we ended up on top. So really happy to be here, and it was wicked fun.
Well, last season we had James Scioli dominate a whole bunch of series and went on to win a couple of championships. You've already locked yourself into the playoffs in 2 of the 3 area championships. What's the goal here? I mean, obviously the Cup Series I imagine would be the priority, but it seems like the performance in both is extremely, extremely good.
I really do appreciate those kind words. I'm looking at both as, pretty equal. I like the ACO, I like the truck. I like running them both, so focus on both. And end of the season, obviously the goal is to be standing on that podium with the championship trophy. So long time till we get there, though. We'll see how things play out.
Well, those in the windshield, this one in the mirror. Jake, congratulations on another job well done, and we'll see you next week.
Appreciate it, guys. Real quick, just want to thank Calusa Pines, Celsius, Area Shop, Alien Gear, Huckett Films, and all the guys at Miller Racing for just doing an awesome job week in, week out, and letting us do what we do. So thank you, guys. See you next week.
Thanks, Jake.
Thank you.
All right, Connor. Wow. Green from flag to flag. Jake said he was shocked. I wasn't. I think this racetrack, the way that it plays out, I think I expected to see a lot. I don't think I expected to see it go green all the way to the checkers, but the entire field tonight did a fantastic job. Great racing. And I know it was frustrating at times with the tight setup, but the strategy played into it. It was a nice natural finish without any funny business, but Jake Matheson is quickly vaulting himself into being the driver with the target on his back headed into the playoffs for more than one series.
Yeah, definitely looked like that guy. He's definitely looking like the guy that can knock the 7 of Scioli off that top step this season. He's already got the win, the first win between those two to prove so. And just talking about the race in general, I think we found the culprit for a fully green race. The tight setup, a little bit tough to navigate, but it definitely made for some great racing and some clean green flag racing. I would be shocked to see the same thing happen Thursday night, though. We're going to see a little bit more of a harder setup. Those Pro Series cars are going to be a little bit harder to drive, but either way, dominant drive by Matheson. And like you said, definitely the guy with the target on his back. He's the guy to beat, and Scioli might have to chase him.
Kentucky complete. Fried chicken is empty. Got to go get a refill from Colonel Sanders. That's going to do it for us tonight here from Kentucky Speedway in the Area Truck Series. Make sure to tune in on Thursday at 8:40 Eastern to make sure that you catch the Thursday night B-Class action. And then next week, we're going to head off to Atlanta Motor Speedway. That one's always an interesting night, so that's going to be fun to watch. Then we have an off week before we head to Milwaukee, heading back to the Milwaukee Mile. Thanks so much for watching. Kyle Heyer alongside Connor Horn, and for Finney Nakunas signing off. We'll see you next week.